SweatEquity podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy business podcast in the on this girth earth.
Well,
Number
that's a new
one
one that I don't know if I like or not.
I'm the mirth of girth.
Oh Christ!
That's what I want my fighter intro to be. You know him as the mirth of girth, Law Smith.
Running in with a chair.
For realsy, we just won another award, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know.
It was.
I sent it to you.
Okay. Dude, you just gave me so much sass.
I did the whole episode too.
What was that?
Sassy.
That was a chick sass.
Bro, I've been sassy all day.
Your hands might as well have been on your hips.
They were.
I already sent it to you. You can listen to this pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with the real raw dog talk on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere podcasts are served in your eardrums.
What?
This episode is sponsored by Zupyak, Zupyak, the first search optimized AI writer. I've been using it. I'm a member, man. Look, I love it. I don't like all these very complicated AI content writing things. I just need to write a landing page. I just need to write a blog post. Bing, bang, boom. 4 steps. Here's all the keywords I need. Get that SEO up. You like that?
Yeah.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Go to Zupyak, ZUPYAK.com and put in the promo code SWEAT. Sweat.
What the hell did we win here? We won Best SME Advice Podcast 2023 in the USA from North America
That
Business
means-
something or other.
SME means small, medium enterprise. Let's do this. Howdy toddy.
It's called SweatEquity.
Listening to the SweatEquity.
Am I in the right place?
Yeah, you're fine. I was running stand-up bits by Eric.
It wasn't going great.
Is always a bad idea.
You guys, we're recording on Zoom, or do you guys use a different platform instead? I was just following what we use in the calendar invite.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go live. We're live on tape.
Well, yeah, we use Livestream Studio, so this isn't the. We plug you in, but we've got our own cameras on our side.
Yeah,
Cool.
but
Good.
we try to keep it efficient for both sides. The less production, the better. I just was asked to do a podcast, and they wanted me to do a pre-interview, and I was like,
Nope.
I'll do your podcast, but I'm not doing any fucking
No, but I'm not
pre-interview."
listening to the show beforehand either.
Right. And it was like, well, all my biggest guests do that, and I go, I don't care. You ask me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Period. Why would you?
Yeah.
Anyway, that aside, Jake, why don't you tell the people where to find you, who you are, where to find you, what you're about. What kind of guy are you?
Yeah, I can start there. I'm trying this new thing when people are like, tell us about yourself. I don't just say founder and CEO of Thursday Labs and blah, blah, blah. It's more like, who am I? And then same with what I ask other people. I'm a very outdoorsy guy, and I love action sports. And I think that says a lot about me versus just me saying that about myself. So I love a damn good adventure. And I think that the way I build companies, the way I engage with people around me, pretty much all the decisions I make are just is this going to be a damn good adventure or what? So that's I think the root of all of it. I just moved 3 days ago from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. So I'm in a half empty house right now, which is probably why you hear a little bit of echo and there's nothing on the wall behind me. And that was largely in pursuit of better surfing. So there you go.
That's pretty cool.
And by day, I run a company called Thursday Labs, which basically I help B2B startup founders build their companies through thought leadership content. And we've got a whole system and process that helps us basically take new founders who just raised their first bit of money and turn them into a whole thought leadership machine.
We like that. We like people that help people in the business world, entrepreneurial world. What neighborhood in Brooklyn and what neighborhood now?
Oh, God,
in
you
LA?
got to do the geography thing, dude.
I
Come
love
on.
maps.
You love
Call
to
me
play
Rand McNally,
You ever been
motherfucker.
down this street before? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm into it. I dig it. I was in Greenpoint in Brooklyn, and
Ooh,
now I'm in
fancy.
Venice in LA.
I lived in Marina Del Rey. I love Venice. Is it crazy?
I know cities too.
No, well, here's what's interesting.
Orange County.
It's crazy because there's campers everywhere. When I lived there 13 years ago, there's campers around Gold's Gym. Like every place in Venice has all these like kind of squatters, but they have to move for the street sweeper. Once a week. So so they're kind of mobile-ish, you know?
Yeah.
They got to roll it down on the other side of the street.
Technically not homeless.
Well, the homeless problem in LA is like wild. Like it was bad when I was there, and it's exponentially worse now. Is that still pretty bad down there?
I don't think it's the worst I've seen. It's
wow.
It's kind of what I was expecting. I've lived in New York for a long time, so that I grew up around homeless people in some capacity.
Sure.
I lived in Denver for a while, both like the 20 teens and then also during the pandemic. So I've seen some pretty bad homeless populations there. I spent a little bit of time in the Bay Area, which is the worst I've ever seen. This is LA's not so bad. What I'm noticing in Venice is you see people like cruising around with big shopping carts and stuff, but the campers, they're like all in one street. I'm like, great, that's not my street, so whatever.
Yeah,
but
I'm talking near the American History X basketball courts out there,
right.
all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, but what you think of like this is a merry place. This got skateboarding bowls and sidewalk hustlers and all that stuff. But if you go inland, you're going to see a lot more. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I went to San Francisco, and within 2 seconds, I'm not exaggerating at all, of getting out of the cab, guys smoking crack on the street, just right there.
Dude, tight.
Within like I was like, oh, okay, cool, let's get to the hotel.
But San Francisco's mind-boggling because it's like the richest and the poorest in the same area.
Yeah.
There's a weird duality.
It was still like kind of nice. Like I was like, oh, he's smoking crack, but like the environment itself is still not that bad, even with him doing that. You know?
Well, I know.
And it's windy. The smoke blows away.
And all the turd smell, it goes away. It's not like hot piss in
exactly.
Manhattan.
Like that air is flowing, dude. That homeless air is flowing away all the time.
Jake, why not Texas? Get that income tax credit.
Because I snowboard and surf. Can't really do much of either of those things there. I've also never been to Texas.
Why don't we pitch Florida to you? How about you come to
a cowboy
Tampa?
hat?
Yeah, your hat says cowboy hat.
Yeah, that's my Colorado era. I'm a big fan of Colorado's. Florida also not really for me. Again, there's like not too many places with a lot of waves, and yeah, I mean, the tax thing, it sounds nice in general. Kind of like I don't get enough value out of the rest of my life for me to make that worth it. I think in those places, just based off what I'm into.
Good for you.
Hey man, I just love Florida. I just want to pitch it to good people, you know.
Mm. Yeah, where are you guys right now?
We're in Tampa.
Got it.
Now we ask everybody that comes on for the first time a couple of questions. First one.
Yeah.
Did you listen to this podcast before coming on?
Nope.
Yep.
Excellent.
That's I think that's the majority of the answers.
Pretty common answer.
Now it's kind of loaded because everybody we have on as a guest is through a booker especially is pretty busy. So but you know, you could have thrown us a little something.
Well, I mean, we just got done talking about how we're not going to do the pre-interview. I'm not listening to the podcast beforehand.
Oh, this is it. This is it. But yeah. But that's us. We're the bad boys of business podcasts.
We're special.
Yeah, we're different. Unique. Okay, my mom thinks I'm cool.
Yeah, both our moms.
And so the other question we asked, and we're going to go deep, like mushrooms deep here. What advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Well, let's start by thinking, what was life like at 13? So I was in 7th grade. My advice would be, ask her out. And that's literal and also metaphoric. Actually heard that in a Theo Vaughn quote recently, which is kind of ridiculous, but I really, really like this quote.
He spits some weird knowledge sometimes.
My buddy Theo,
it's totally weird,
the Rat King?
But you know what? He's hilarious, but every now and then he'll spit something that's like, wow, that kind of got me to think. And this was one of them. Ask her out. And I love this because it certainly means like you see a gorgeous woman that you're attracted to, like go up and say hello, but it also means like think about moving to a new city ask her out. Or you want to try a new food, ask her out. Or you're
Take a chance.
Buy a new hobby. Take the chance.
That might be my favorite new answer.
Yeah,
might be my favorite one.
Yeah, I would
just go for it.
I bucket it under like that's kind of the same ish.
Yeah, don't be a pussy.
Yeah, well, it's like don't overthink it. Just go do it, right?
Yeah.
But I like that.
And
that feels melodic almost the way you put it.
Totally. Yeah, and the reason that's my answer for 13 is because I got some version of that advice, and I actually took it when I was probably 19 or 20. And then my life completely changed in so many great ways.
You got the advice at 13 or you got it at 19 and followed it at 19?
I got it I followed it at 19. And I constantly ask myself, I'm like, where would I be if I had an extra 6-7 years of following that advice?
Interesting.
Or did you need that 6-7 years to really appreciate, when it came through?
That's a good point too. Yeah, maybe couldn't have actually heard that profound, wise advice at 13 years old.
I deal with a lot of 13-year-olds, and they don't take advice very well.
Well, if you look at that as time squandered, do you now look at things in your life, analyze things in your life going on, and go, I'm not making that mistake again? Like if someone gives you good advice that you need to take in.
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of, I believe in essentially what you're saying, which is, am I even able to receive that advice at that time? Like, were you even able to notice it or understand it or internalize it or conceptualize it? So I'm probably receiving advice or hearing advice or being told advice all the time right now that I'm not even able to fully wrap my head around or realize that like this is probably something to pay attention to. And maybe in 5 years or in another 10 years, then I'll understand it. So I know that's a bit of a loaded answer, and I hope it gives a little bit to your question.
I was more or less saying, do you look at things in your life now when you do have, let's say, a real interesting conversation that someone gives you advice that you did ask them for? Are you more actionable now, or do you find yourself doing the same kind of loop of like sitting on it for a little bit and then being mad that you sat on it?
I'm more actionable. It's always been in my personality to be pretty actionable, but there are, I think like anybody, my, 3 or 4 things that I just like suck at and need to work on and probably should go to therapy for or address in therapy. Tendencies I've had since I was a kid that come out in different ways and in various aspects of my life. And so those ones, I keep sitting on them, I think because I'm a human being. And it'd be nice to, for whatever reason, figure out ways to not sit on those things so much. But I think like, is there anybody out there who doesn't have a couple things that they like consistently keep showing up that they need to work on? I think that's just part of it.
Yeah. We were just talking about how I needed therapy and I didn't want to go. A
Yeah.
couple episodes ago.
And you actually pushed me into it when I needed to go. Like you nudged me into it a little bit. And I did the BetterHelp thing. It kind of got my toe in the water. And then I did, in-person sessions with, like that felt like Goodwill Hunting. But it was like,
why?
Because he was a hard ass, and he
I
was.
thought you were doing math and shit.
Oh yeah, no, I was doing some calculus on the wall.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Why would you do that to my whiteboard?" And I'm like, "Oh, we don't do the whole thing." But yeah,
you're not Robin Williams, and I'm Matt Damon here. Is that not how this works?
Yeah.
And as you said, you were talking at the top of the show, how you describe yourself. My new dad joke is to say I'm a former D1 mathlete. So,
nice.
We can get some puns in there. Nothing from the soundboard on that one?
I'm doing a face.
Yeah, okay.
It's not good.
We've got a soundboard that...
no, the soundboard, I mean...
I know.
Do you even care about the setup of this show at all?
We've
You
got
don't know
company,
how any of it
baby.
works.
I know.
You just show up and expect magic to happen.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Finally.
I know.
That's all I needed. That's all I need.
I see you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, hey, Jake. What?
We should go to therapy. You and me. Couples therapy.
Oh, you want to do that?
We should. We probably should actually.
Be like, we're doing trust falls right now, dude.
Ball punches.
So you're in Venice now. Big life changes, and you know what? I like that you said you're a 3-dimensional character. I think a lot of people in your space, right? Because you're kind of in this position. Let's call it brand position of, you are an advisor, right, to those that need help, right? And I feel like a lot of that a lot of it's so squeaky clean and unhelpful kind of content that you see out of probably your peers in your segment, the business coaches. Just go, anybody.
He's trying to get you to talk shit about your competitor.
No, but if you do, that'd be great. But like go in LinkedIn, look at your in-mails, and if it's not like overseas outsourcing, like promotion help, it's going to be these business coaches that are flawless. I think it's important that you have flaws and you're talking about them. So I don't really have a question. I was just saying, good on you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I will not call myself a coach. I'm not a coach.
No,
I don't run an agency. Those are two of the few buzzwords that I've just always been contrarian about things. That's probably the easiest way to put it. And so when everyone's calling themselves X, I'm like, well, what can I call myself that people haven't figured out yet or haven't started to call themselves yet? What's Y when everyone's going for X? And so, with Thursday Labs, like it has elements of an agency, but like it's not. It's a company. This is more of a startup, if anything else.
No, I didn't mean to I didn't mean to down round.
Other people would be called a coach too.
Yeah, not at all. I know. I think it's a good discussion of like more of where things are at right now with this type of this industry, this business. It's almost like you don't need to have credentials to call yourself a coach or an advisor or a consultant or an agency leader. You kind of just need to like start. That's pretty much it. The bar's so freaking low. And that for those who have been in it for a while, I mean, I started this company, a different version of this company. We pivoted into this. I started it 10 years ago and I was 18 years old. So and for other folks who have been in it for a while, I think it bothers me.
28 is the answer, Law, if you're doing the math.
Yeah. For
I said former D1 mathlete.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I knew it was just bothering him. That math.
No, you're wise beyond your years, and I think it shows that you aren't trying to do this flashy kind of way of going about it, right? I mean, the fact that you made it to our show is kind of, you might want to fire your booker, but like, it's one of those things where.
How's that logic work?
Well, I'm saying we're entrepreneurial talk with dick jokes. Our logo's a dick. That's a necktie. We're kind of not for everybody.
You mean my greatest design work ever?
Dude, great logo. Nothing against it. I'm not saying any of your designs bad.
I'm sorry. I just have a bad day.
We're doing couples counseling for sure after this. BetterHelp. But it's one of those things where how do you differentiate yourself from these snake oil salesmen? I have a big bug up my ass about, especially marketing. Like just these people are like, here's all you do, 1, 2, 3, bing, ding, and you're sitting on a sports car, looking cool on a Miata.
Yeah. I think that there's a decent analogy here. Is like, do you want to sell Honda sports cars or sell Lamborghinis? And pretty obvious if you just think about walking into a Honda dealer versus a Lamborghini dealer, like what type of salesperson is walking up to you on the floor. They're very different people, and they have a whole different approach as to how they're going to potentially sell you that car. And by the way, that Lamborghini salesperson, they might not sell you that car.
I was just going to say they might just play hard to get the whole time.
They might play hard to get. They actually are hard to get. They might kick you out of the store if you're not the right fit there. And versus Honda, they'll sell to anybody. So that's part of it. It's kind of like instead of I don't talk the talk. I'd rather just keep my mouth shut and do great work. We turn down clients that we don't think we can be successful with, or that we want to work with. I won't put out. I try to put out as little content about ourselves as I possibly can. Some of it is strategic, but everything's about others, and those are just the pure opposite of what I think all the snake oil people do. It's really that simple.
That's interesting because, on my bullet point cheat sheet here, it says, why are so many startups struggling with brand building? But I would say in the beginning, you are the brand, and your Thursday Labs has a more personal touch that's kind of the bespoke brand positioning, right? That's, you actually give a shit. That's your thing. So I find that interesting to basically take yourself out of a lot of content when that's your like advantage, right?
Yeah, I think I can still be in the content. I think any thought leader should still be leading the thought, but I don't think they should get on and talk about themselves. I think they should ask really damn good questions to others. I think they should provide thought-provoking topics that get people to think, or they entertain, or they inspire, they educate. But the opening of like, I've done X, Y, and Z, so you should listen to me, or hey, can I tell you all about myself? It's just like, no, not interested in you. I'm interested in me. Why would I want that?
Yeah, it's almost a short money introduction when people do that, right? It's like it will work on the people that don't think about it because they just go, I want to see results from previous. That is fact, and nothing can go wrong for me.
I am data-driven, so I am faultless.
I make data-driven decisions. What are some tips for building a marketing team, a growth engine? That was my engine noise.
I hated it.
Yeah, I think that the best place to start, if you're a startup founder or you are somebody who's building a company where you want to be the forefront of it, the face of it, which I think, first of all, way more B2B business people should be doing that, not just consumer brands. Best place to start is by producing your own podcast, but don't care about people listening to the show.
Check.
Yep.
Pull out the short form clips and edit them. Okay. Write a blog every week. Write a newsletter every week. I believe that's the best place to start foundationally, and that's reflected in my company's product and our offering, right? Like, I believe in it so much that we sell that. And I believe heavily in the volume game and the repurposing game. So you can take an hour a week to record an episode, and that can very easily yield over 100 or 200 plus pieces of content across the internet, all pointing back to the same place, which is damn good SEO. And to take a few hours a week to do that between one or two people is pretty damn good investment, in my opinion. So that's a good place to start.
I thought you said you didn't check out this podcast before. Just kidding.
I've been staring at you like this the whole time you were saying it.
We're horrible about doing our own shit. I'm trying to get better, man.
You're way better than me. That's for sure.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what.
You got to get over the ick. I'm over the ick. I've gone to the part where I've gone through all the stages of grief of having to promote myself as a part of this podcast or my stand-up career, and now I don't give a shit because I'm closing in on 40. And I got a couple of gray pubes, and I got to make some shit happen and be actionable.
Sorry, I shouldn't care that much about your gray pubes.
Well, my penis looks like an adjunct professor.
Let's stick to the pubes.
But, I mean, repurposing time. Time is your commodity. That's kind of what you were circling around in my head. Now, how do you get the most out of the thing you did? The hard part's the opinion, I feel like, the angle. To make the content, to go on your podcast and go, what's one of ours?
I'll mark this right now, and you can use it.
How I just do this to shock you because you get uncomfortable. The swastika was one of the greatest rebrands in history of branding. I mean, contrarian logic kind of flipped it on its head. I don't agree with it, the message it is now, but it was a Hindu sign of peace.
I'm not uncomfortable, by the way.
You used to get uncomfortable and be like, bah, 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 bah.
You would also, turn me into a, far right.
When you shaved your head a lot, it was like that was American
history.
What
is different than now?
I don't know. You're cute.
That's what it's all. You're just trying to make me feel better.
Jake, before we can go back and forth and pretend like you're not here, like we're a Cuban couple.
You got to keep us wrangled.
So, and part of that organic content for driving startup growth, like, again, not putting yourself in the story, in the narrative. Personally, I find this interesting because everything comes from you down. Correct? You're the founder.
Yeah.
And you chose. They're like, is it an ick factor?
It's a saturated factor. It's just everyone's out there, kind of looks the same, went to the same colleges, raised money from the same VCs, saying the same shit. And that gets pretty tired and old at the end of the day. And I think everyone then looks like a salesperson trying to sell their product, sell their company, sell themselves. And we hate that as a consumer base now. It just doesn't resonate. So I think instead for founders, and this is what we focus on, like B2B startup founders, right? the strategy and the approach is build a table, virtual table, and you're going to be the head of the table. And you're going to invite 12, 15, 20, 50, 100 very influential, thought-provoking, smart, awesome people to join you at that table. And you're going to be the one to lead the conversation, to ask really good questions, to connect each other, to kind of sum up the points people are making. But no one heard of you, but they've heard of everyone else. But the fact that you're the leader of that table, now they start to associate you with all the other people at that table. And if you don't have an ad budget, but you have a little bit of time and you've got money to, $6,000 a month, $8,000 a month, not a lot of money for an early stage startup. That's a really strategic place to start, which is like build these relationships with the influential people in your industry, provide them value by having them on your show and giving them free content, asking them really good questions, just be known. That's the first place to start, to become known.
I think I'd go backwards a little bit, do that resource audit. What do you got? What do you got right now? Right? Most people don't have the budget, so you got time. And I always think about it, how you're going to fill your cup, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the best use of your time? Building relationships, right? That's the long game. What can I do short term? All right, I can knock out these little things to set me up for the future, kind of, this week, this month, that kind of thing. Short term, long term at the same time. Did you have something?
Huh? What?
You look like you were going to say something.
What? Why? What?
You've been entrepreneurial since you
didn't.
Oh,
How dare you?
Why were you winking at me and going?
I always do that.
Oh, okay. You've been entrepreneurial since you were 8 years old with skateboards.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that and like what other kind of businesses
Action
along the
sports.
way or action sports? Yeah.
Yeah, there were a ton. It's just always been a tendency I've had since I was a little kid. I don't know where it came from, but I do know that my dad especially saw it in me pretty early on and always inspired me and pushed me and motivated me to do the entrepreneurial thing versus the non-entrepreneurial thing. So 8 years old, I remember I started the first little project, which was I'm going to start a skateboard repair service, which was akin to like a lemonade stand. So I made flyers on Microsoft Word with clip art that were like, if you need your skateboard repaired, call me. And I put them in about 250 mailboxes in my neighborhood. And then I got
Comic Sans
my parents
font.
got a phone call. A lot of Comic Sans, clip art with like, a skateboard with a smiley face and arms and legs
Ironically,
coming out of
with
it.
unfunny font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's
Very,
Sans comic. Oh.
I don't think that's what the Saints
Never thought of
for.
that. Yeah, that was good. But my parents kind of got a phone call that said, "Hey, if your son continues to put flyers unsolicited in people's mailboxes, we're gonna have to fine you." So I stopped that.
Is this
But
in
that's
Denver?
kind of where it all.
This is in
This
Denver.
was in New York.
New York.
This was in New York.
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
So naturally, but you know what it was? It was me realizing I had no customers. What? I didn't do any market research on how many people in my neighborhood, one, skateboarded, let alone needed their skateboard repair. It was zero. So that was a good little learning lesson early on of like, you're going to break the rules. You're going to get in trouble, but like, this is how shit happens. And then as I got a bit older, so I got a car. That's when things changed for me when I was like 16 years old. And I started actually I missed one. There was a business, best margin business I ever did was around the age of like 13, 14. I bought one of those VHS to DVD converters.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this is a classic one. So I'd then just go to like all the moms in the neighborhood and be like, give me a box of all your home videos. For $50 a video, I'll convert it to a hard drive. So I would just like come home from school, pop in a video, put it on, go do my homework, and then come back and it was like on a DVD. And then I put that in another machine that would go DVD to hard drive. And then I'd send them a Google Drive folder with all their videos. Women would bring me like 50 videos. So I was making thousands of dollars for just like pressing play and pressing pause while I was doing my homework after school. So that was a good business. Then I got a car and I started an after school tutoring business where first I would tutor about 5 or 6 kids a day, 5 days a week at $25 an hour. This was like first grade math, like third grade science, because my school needed, or our town liked to have the high school kids tutor the elementary school kids. And I was like, I don't need to be an AP math to teach someone simple addition. And then I started to hire some other tutors under me to go around and tutor. So
Tutor
that whole
pimp.
business.
Tutor pyramid
pimp.
scheme.
Okay.
100%.
I like tutor
but
pay.
And you
But you know
get
what?
and you get
Minimum
3 tutors,
wage.
and you get 3 tutors.
Minimum wage at the time was like $7 or something like that. And I did the math. I was like, Hurricane Sandy just ripped through. So gas prices are really expensive and I need a car so I don't have to sit in my parents' house all day. I can't afford the car or gas at a minimum wage job with the amount of time I have after school and on the weekends. And all I really want to do is buy gas and weed and booze because I'm a high school kid. And math didn't work out. I couldn't make enough money by working at the movie theater or pizza shop. So I was like, but if I made 3 times that, 4 times that, I'll have that and much more, and I can pay for college. So then I'd go to other kids and be like, you can make $7 an hour at the pizza shop, or you can make $12 an hour working with me, and then I'll pocket the other 12. I didn't know that.
Were you born this way, or is this a learned behavior, you think?
I don't know. It's a good question. Part of me is like, I was born this way because I was doing it since I was 8. But if my dad wasn't there to
could sponge
show
that
me
shit up, yeah.
Yeah, like if he wasn't there to show me that there's, at least just say to me, hey, Jake, you could go get a job at the movie theater. Or you could also do this. Like, let's just think about it for 5 minutes and talk through, like, could you get creative here? If he wasn't there to start that conversation, I probably would have just gone for the pizza shop job. And then who knows where I'd be now? I'd probably, like, still work at the pizza shop. So
That's huge from your dad. Like, it's,
Yeah,
on so many
super
levels
grateful
beyond
for that.
business, like, just, hey, think about it from a different angle for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
For anything.
Exactly.
I want my kids to see me work, and as much physical work as I can show them.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly on a laptop, but it's like, when I'm out and about and I run into someone, I go, that was a former client. Here's what I helped them do. This is why this satisfies me as having this job, growing their business. It's very satisfying. I'm very lucky in that way, and kind of have a talk with them. You said something about earlier that you're kind of a contrarian. Can I throw this pitch put a little different light on it? Because my family,
Yeah, please.
my family's called me a contrarian as a pejorative my whole life. And I think I'm curious, and I want to see both sides of an argument.
Yeah.
So I ask questions like, well, why wouldn't they do it that way? And then I get called a contrarian. And it was like, just shut up. Just play your fucking Game Boy. But
It plays into the, hey, just think about it from a different angle for 2 seconds idea.
Right. And
Same thing.
I think lawyers have this kind of way of logic and breaking down a case or a situation. I think
Well, it's a lot of debate team. It's like you don't get to pick which side you are. They're telling you what side and figure it out.
right. Or Newton's third law, right? I just watched Interstellar again. Newton's third law, whatever force has a equal force to that.
That's exactly the way he said it.
That's how he said it, dude.
He said it.
Fuck it. He stole it from someone else probably. But it's one of those things that do you think you're just insatiably curious and not? I think you said it as a contrarian, as a kind of a slamming yourself a bit, and I was like, I think it's a curiosity thing.
I was going to say, you and I we consider ourselves contrarian. Just, I'm someone to say I don't like to do stuff the way other people do it.
But we also want to be funny a lot of the time.
Right. Well,
and comedy is contrast and conflict. So it's like,
Yeah, I actually take pride in calling myself contrarian. I'm definitely curious, but I kind of sum it up in like to be almost a little bit aggressive but real about it. It's this like crippling fear of being average and normal.
Yeah.
sure.
Because you look around, I look around, and it's like, look at the averages, like look at the data, and I don't want to. I'm not going to try to argue with data and statistics. The average people are broke, in mega debt, freaking miserable, divorced, pissed, like suffering from lots of emotional and physical and mental illnesses, and that's the norm. I'm like, that's not how I want to have my short little stint on this planet at all. So if I do different things, then I'll probably get different results.
Yeah, I'm with
simplest
you.
way to
I
sum
think
it up.
Eric co-signs on that as well.
Co-signed.
I can't be the guy in a scratch-off line or a lotto ticket line. I can't.
It's nothing's worse than being stuck behind somebody. Can I get number 12?
Oh, and they have their
Just one of those, but I need two of the other
They got
ones.
their
That doesn't
numbers, and I'm like,
freaking matter.
why isn't there a Scantron over here? Just go fill it out. Why is this our thing, man?
Why can't we do it online?
But the saddest line is when it gets really long and there's people in a lotto line. They have to make a whole other like line at a
Line
a
of
grocery
broken
store.
dreams.
You know, they need to go to my Latin, my Hispanic Publix and go get a Jesus candle in the Jesus candle aisle. We got
Right. It's more of a section, but
yeah, no, it's an aisle. I'm in a very Spanish neighborhood. Let's just say a lot of Cuban grandmas trick me into taking groceries up, and they're like,
You like
"Thank
doing
you."
it.
Oh, well, my ego's like, I'm a hero. But I don't want to be. I also don't want to just be average, and that doesn't mean I need to be so unique. I need to. I have to be the most unique or anything. I just. You grow up kind of vanilla. You don't really want to be that. In a
just
way.
like have a lot of interests, be able to talk about a lot of different things.
And it goes back to curiosity, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
just like-
That's the driver. And you know what?
Don't be the person who's like, I don't talk about space.
You know what, Jake and
It's just-
Thursday Labs get they get them to think of their clients about their target audience's emotional level. I think we got Jake on an emo level.
Sweet. Good.
I was just gonna let that pause sit there.
I'm-
Jake, you were saying something. Sorry.
That's not something we do every time either, Jake. Sorry.
No, that was great. I think
Yeah,
we
it's-
all were in a game of chicken.
I think that there's been a lot of scenarios in my life, starting from pretty young, which is where I think a lot of this mindset developed, which is like all the excitement in life, all the good shit, the things that people feel like you might need to get lucky for. Like, I'm so lucky I met that person or like made that amount of money or whatever it is. Like, I don't think luck has really anything to do with it. I think it's all those results are just on the other side of that curiosity and that uncomfort. Like, it's just on the other side of it. And that curiosity and comfort is typically really freaking hard. And in some way, whether it's physically challenging or mentally or emotionally challenging, like it's just the goodness of life is just right on the other side of it being really challenging. And so I just am constantly curious about like, well, what could that goodness look and feel like? Why would I not want more goodness? It's safe and legal typically. So why would I not go for that? I just got to push through this like uncomfortable piece in the meantime to get to it. Like, fuck that. I don't care about the uncomfortable piece because that's temporary. So that's just kind of been the driver here is like realizing each time you do it, it's really not that bad. And then life just keeps getting better and better. So the curiosity is typically less about like, what can I learn from this or what's it going to be like? But it's more just like, damn, how good could this get on the other side?
Love it.
Yeah.
Super positive.
Yeah, we love some optimism.
Needed that.
Yeah. We like some intense optimism. I think we just scratched the surface with you. We'll have to have you back on the show
For sure.
at some point.
Of course, guys.
Yeah, man.
Once you get the furniture and stuff, something on that wall back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it doesn't look like
I just got a frame TV this morning, like this, I'm pointing to it, but it's below the camera. It's one of those Samsung TVs that you can load up your photography onto. And I'm a photographer, so that it's fun to do it, but I haven't hung it yet. I'll hang it up tonight.
Sweet.
When I have some free time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be in the background.
That whole thing of like getting a new place, you're like, God, I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah.
But keep it curious and just ask the girl out, man.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, buddy.
100%.
Appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to have you back on pretty soon.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. This was fun, and we will talk soon.
See ya.